What is up, YouTube? This is Codypon, and we are bringing you another video of Call of Duty Zombies, and this is every weapon that was in Call of Duty's Black Ops 2 Zombies that was not in the multiplayer. And surprisingly, there is quite a few guns that were in Zombies and just never made it to multiplayer for one reason or another. So we're going to get into that, and we're going to show off the exclusive weapons for each map, as well as talking about a couple things as to maybe why some guns were not in the multiplayer. And then the last thing, as a short disclaimer, none of the weapons that are stabs or any other type of special weapon is going to be in this. So none of the brass knuckles, the Bowie knife, none of those things will be in it. This is just the guns. Now on to the first two weapons. We have the Origins pistol, which is a really cool pistol. Honestly, I love this weapon, Pack-a-Punch, and obviously this weapon was not futuristic or even a weapon that was used in like the Vietnam times. So however, the M14 is another weapon that, you know, was included in Black Ops 1, but sadly just did not make it due to probably, again, just not being a futuristic or a game that really situated itself with what Black Ops 2's theme was. But still really cool that both of these weapons are in Black Ops 2, as well as the M14 basically being a staple wall gun in Black Ops 2 like how it was in Black Ops 1. Now, you will see a theme here that I do cover quite a few of the Origin guns right away, and that's because there's just so many exclusives or unique weapons to Origin. So next we have the MP40, which was a staple in Black Ops 1 as well as World at War. MP40 is one of my favorite weapons, and it's just a staple for the zombie franchise. And then next up, we have the Tommy gun, which the Tommy gun is super cool in this game. Unlike most of the weapons that were reused from Black Ops 1, the Tommy gun is actually its own version of the Thompson. Of course, they are pretty much the same weapon. However, this one does have the drum mag, really awesome, and it is a beast of a gun in Call of Duty Zombies. It is just one of the best weapons to stack up points, and it's one of my personal favorites to use in Origins. Moving on, we have the Galil, which Galil is probably my favorite weapon to use in Black Ops 1 multiplayer, especially with that silencer. But the Galil, what a staple gun for Call of Duty, especially Treyarch. Treyarch loves having the Galil in their games, and yeah, the Galil is just one of the best weapons, and it fits really nice into Origins. Going over exclusive weapons, we have our first exclusive besides the pistol, is the MG08 or the MG08, however you want to announce or pronounce it. But the MG08, what a beast of a weapon. It is really fun to use. It's so cool looking, and I love that the mag is, you know, sideways on the weapon, and it just kind of, you know, pushes itself in. It's just a really cool weapon. I like the design of it a lot, and it's super fun to use, and I wish this weapon was in more than just Origins, but it fits right at home with the time frame of Origins. And yeah, it's just an awesome weapon that is super fun to use in Origins. Then another staple Black Ops 1 weapon that I love to use, especially with the reticle sight in multiplayer, is the FAL or the FAL. It is just such a fun weapon, and obviously being a single shot is a really good headshot machine and helps out getting lots of points. It's a fun weapon, and then of course it just doesn't fit the aesthetic of like what BO2's multiplayer was going for. So now we can all state that the ray gun should not be in multiplayer for obvious reasons, but we can say that the ray gun is such a really cool weapon, being a staple of the Zombies franchise. And yeah, if it ever did become a multiplayer weapon, I think, especially in BO2, I think it would have been a lot of fun, or BO3, just because how, you know, futuristic those games are. It does make sense. And then as well as we have the STG in here as well, and the STG is just a staple weapon, aka the MP44. But again, we just never saw either of these weapons for obvious reasons. It's not the theme. But yeah, really solid weapons for Origins with the STG, and of course the ray gun is just a classic across all zombie maps. And then moving right along with the ray gun, we have the ray gun Mark II, which is another weapon that was introduced in Black Ops 2, being a burst round version of the ray gun. However, if you tap it just right, it almost feels like it is a fully automatic weapon, but at last it is, at the end of the day, a burst weapon, which I personally sometimes really do enjoy having the ray gun Mark II, but it's definitely personal preference. I think some people still do enjoy the aesthetic of how the ray gun, the OG ray gun looks, but I do like the ray gun Mark II as well. But both have their own special place in my heart and many other zombie fans. Moving on to another wonder weapon, we have the exclusive weapon from Barrett, which is the Paralyzer. The Paralyzer is basically a, I want to say, a nerfed version of the Wonder Waffle from Doris, but other people could probably argue that and say, you know, the Paralyzer is its own weapon, as it basically allows you to shoot zombies and slow them down. However, if you do shoot them enough, it will actually kill them as well. But it is a great weapon to get you out of sticky situations, and it is just really fun to use. It's kind of beefier, but one of the greatest things I like about the Paralyzer is that it doesn't actually carry ammo. Instead, it's on a cooldown timer, so basically you will be using it, but if you overuse it, it will overheat and will not be able to use it. So I really enjoy that about the Paralyzer, and I would love to see this weapon come back, or maybe, you know, have a different type of idea of what the Paralyzer is for future Call of Duty games. Moving on to another classic wall weapon of the OG Treyarch zombies, we have the Olympia. First introduced in Black Ops, the Olympia basically became a staple of the early games of Call of Duty Zombies, and yeah, for good reasons. It's a really fun shotgun. Obviously, it only does carry 2 bullets, but it is super fun at early levels, and of course the levels with dogs, it is just a crusher towards those enemies. And then next weapon, we have another exclusive weapon to Barrett only. It is the Remington pistol, which, how can you argue with this pistol? This pistol is just so fun to use. It does replace the Python for this map, but this pistol is just very accurate, and it shoots and kills pretty high levels as well. As you can see, I'm on level 11, and it is still being able to almost one-shot or two-shot enemies. And yeah, if you have a really good shot, or you can bundle up or you can pile up a bunch of zombies in a train, you can definitely take out and be efficient, as well as racking up points. And then we have another weapon here, which is from playing Die Rise. We did pick up the RPD, but the RPD is definitely a weapon that could have made a very fair argument that it could have been in BO2, but again, the theme of the futuristic weapons, and there was other weapons that pretty much did the same job as the RPD in the multiplayer. Super fun weapon and super strong in zombies. Cannot argue with it. Great weapon. Next, we have the Python, which again, the Python is such a strong weapon early rounds, where you're able to just basically one-shot zombies, even in the body, but of course, shooting them through the head, it is a guarantee kill. And oh my goodness, talking about one-shot kill weapons, how can we not talk about the Barrett 50 cal? Very cool weapon that they did introduce into zombies for the first time, fun fact, in Black Ops 2. The Barrett 50 cal is a weapon that obviously was a staple of the Infinity Ward franchise for quite a while, but for it to actually come into Treyarch and be in the zombies was really cool to see. And surprisingly, I was really shocked that this weapon, out of all weapons, this was the weapon that did not make multiplayer. I felt like this had a very strong case to be in the multiplayer, but at last they did not. This was definitely an era of Treyarch where they were very anti snipers, as further on in the development of the game, they did nerf like the DSR and the ballista to become slower because they felt they were overpowered. But that's another video idea. Maybe if you guys want to know more, you can definitely subscribe, and maybe I'll make that video in the near future. We're going to be talking about a few submachine guns, and starting that list off is the AK-74U. Very high powered, high fire rate submachine gun that is just solid overall. It was great in Black Ops 1, both in zombies and the multiplayer, and the zombies AK-74U in BO2 is no exception. Now, if you guys watched my last video on weapons that did not make it into zombies, a lot of people did tell me, hey, the Uzi is in zombies. What do you mean? That was for Black Ops 1, as the Uzi never did make it into Black Ops 1 zombies. However, in Black Ops 2 on Mob of the Dead, we finally got the Uzi in zombies, which is really, really cool to see the Uzi, especially because they upped the ammo in the magazine to 25 compared to what it was in Black Ops 1 at only 20. So that was really cool and a nice little niche upgrade for it. I really appreciated that because it really makes it a viable weapon in Mob of the Dead. And yeah, it's a wall weapon too, so it's just a super fun early weapon to use. And even on higher rounds, it still can rack up a ton of points. But obviously between the Uzi and the Tommy gun, as you see I'm using now in this clip, it is a beast weapon. And both of these weapons were really, really solid in Mob of the Dead. And you will see very shortly that there are other weapons that did not make it in BO1, but now are in BO2. But before we get on to those weapons, I do want to express and show off my favorite zombie weapon in Black Ops 2, the Blundergat, or Blundergat, however you'd like to say it. The Blundergat is basically a blunderbuss, and it is a tank. It reloads very efficiently and very fast for what it is, to be honest, compared to like what it was based off of. Is a super cool looking weapon too, especially the fact that it basically putting 4 bullets into the gun every single time it reloads, which I just love how this gun looks, and it is so satisfying to use. Blundergat is by far my #1 weapon for Black Ops 2 zombies, and it's not even close. Talking about weapons that didn't make it from Black Ops 1 but did make it into Black Ops 2 only in zombies is the AK-47. What a weapon. It's really, really cool to see the AK-47. I mean, it essentially looks exactly like how it did in Black Ops 1. However, there is like no kick on this weapon at all, which is really surprising because usually, you know, the iron sight flickers quite a bit in the Black Ops 1 multiplayer, but to see it in BO2 zombies with no kick at all, it's fantastic. It's a really, really solid weapon, and I'm just so glad that I was able to finally use an AK when this came out in Call of Duty Zombies. And we are beginning to get to the end of the list here, but we have to talk about another wall gun staple of the franchise, the M16, and specifically this version is of the Colt M16A1, which of course is a 3-round burst weapon in Call of Duty, but it is fully automatic in real life. It is just a really, really solid weapon early on and even later on, as it is a beast and does become fully automatic when it is upgraded in Pack-a-Punch. Cannot go wrong with the M16, just a classic staple, and for obvious reasons, it just doesn't fit the time and era of BO2's multiplayer. This is the reason why it is not in the multiplayer. All right, the last gun that we are going to be showing off today is the Sliquifier, which is the only buildable weapon on this list, as I am not including the jet gun because the jet gun is not really actually a gun. It's more of like a air cannon. So it's not necessarily a gun, and also the fact that it breaks would totally makes no sense why it would be in multiplayer, as it does break down. Compared to the Sliquifier, you build it and you have it. It has ammo and it's super fun. Honestly, this is such an underrated wonder weapon where I wish that something like this would come back into zombies, and it's just so fun. And as you can see, I get that slippery when undead using it. As this account I never did play this map on Xbox, so just being able to use this weapon and get that achievement for the first time was pretty cool. But yeah, that is the reason why the jet gun is not and the Sliquifier is in, as well as, of course, we stated earlier, the staves are not, because they're not guns, they're staffs. They're a weapon, but not a gun. But that is going to be everything for this video, guys. If you did enjoy and would like to see more videos on niche little facts, I do plan on making a 100 fact video of useless Call of Duty facts from all games, besides not just the original CODs, but from all Call of Duties across the franchise, and just making a fun little fact video that literally means nothing such as, for example, when you breathe in with a Barrett 50 cal or any sniper in zombies, every single character has its own unique breathing animation and noise, which, again, completely useless. If you guys do enjoy videos like that, definitely feel free to subscribe and like and comment what your favorite weapon that is exclusive from Black Ops 2 Zombies down in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and we will see you guys in another video. Peace out.